Hi, I want to start by wishing a happy Lunar New Year to our Asian community. Come join me at the Chinese Cultural and Community Service Center's Lunar New Year celebration at the Westfield Montgomery Mall this Saturday, February 5th at 1 p.m. Also, I want to note that Tuesday was the start of Black History Month. Throughout the month, there will be many more programs, celebrations, and tributes. Please check our website and follow our social media accounts for more events and information. Throughout this pandemic, we've witnessed our Asian communities facing threats and acts of hate. As a county, we united and supported these communities during this difficult time. Now, this week, we've seen our historically Black colleges and universities facing a similar climate of fear. It is ironic and sad that at the start of Black History Month, several historically Black colleges and universities around the country have received bomb threats. These acts are unacceptable and frankly cowardly. My thoughts are with the students, parents, faculty, staff, and alumni of these important institutions. In addition to these threats of violence, our communities of color are facing legislative actions around this country that would suppress their right to vote. There's nothing more fundamental to a democracy than the right to vote, and these acts continue an assault on our democracy that were encouraged by the previous president. And the battles in communities to restrict accurate teaching of our nation's past in our schools is yet another attack on Black history and the culture, and an attack on the history of all of us. We cannot come to grips with where we are if we don't understand the road that brought us here. This month, I urge you to research, recognize, and appreciate Black history, and share it with your family and your friends. The history of Black people in America is often uncomfortable. It is filled with stories of mistreatment, disrespect, oppression, violence, and injustice. As hard as some of it is to learn, it does much greater harm to our society if we refuse to deal with the truth. This is nothing less than a continuing effort to obscure the past so that people don't have the information necessary to connect the past to the present and to understand what we must do to redress the crimes that were committed here. As far as our COVID update this week, our average cases over the last 7 days have decreased by 53%, and the positivity rate has decreased by 4 percentage points. Thankfully, our hospital rates continue to decline as well. We have seen a 51% reduction in ICU and acute beds occupied by COVID patients, down from 553 weeks ago to just 281 this week. Although it feels good to be on the other side of the surge, we're still seeing case rates and positivity rates almost as high as they were last winter. So let's be clear, this virus is still not out of here, and it isn't time for us to stop using common sense. Since the beginning of this pandemic, we've watched several variants rise rapidly in the population and dissipate, only to be replaced by the next variant. While it's great that Omicron seems to be on the decline, we must be careful not to be complacent. We will continue to be vigilant and monitor and track variants as they emerge. Please expect and understand that policies will reflect what we need to do to keep people as safe as possible. With the decrease in transmission rates, we have also seen a drop-off in testing. Testing at all county providers has dropped about 50% over the past week. I do encourage everyone to continue to test, whether at home or at one of our sites. It is quick, it's easy, it's painless, and it's important as we move forward. Our rapid test distribution has continued to be quite successful. We've distributed over 1 million take-home rapid test kits in just under a month, and that is incredible. February is National Library Lovers Month, and I have loved the help our libraries have provided with this effort. I want to reiterate my appreciation to our county libraries and all of our staff members and volunteers who've worked so hard to get these tests into the hands of our residents. I am concerned about our declining booster rates. About half the eligible population has yet to receive a booster, and we're seeing a slowdown in people getting the boosters. There's a clear correlation between vaccinations and the impact of severe COVID symptoms. The bottom line is that vaccines work. Data shows that unvaccinated adults aged 18 and older had 13 times the risk of testing positive for COVID and 68 times the risk of dying from COVID compared to fully vaccinated adults with a booster. People who were boosted were more protected than those who had yet to receive a booster. We're going to continue to aggressively do outreach, marketing campaigns in communities and targeted zip codes where our booster rates are lower. Whether it's more pop-up clinics or other direct outreach, we're going to get the word out and hope you will help us as well, because this is an important message to get vaccinated and boosted. I also want to note some successes of Montgomery County companies who are helping battle this virus. This week, Gaithersburg's Novavax announced that it had formally filed a request for emergency use authorization of its protein-based COVID-19 vaccine in the United States. If green-lighted by FDA, Novavax's shots could be the first COVID-19 doses available in the United States based on a kind of protein subunit technology that has been used for decades in other routine vaccines. This is different than the mRNA-based vaccines developed by Moderna and Pfizer. I was also happy this week to visit Maxim Biomedical in Rockville. Maxim is a 17-year-old company whose take-home rapid test was approved recently by the FDA. Montgomery County is proud to be home to Novavax and Maxim and many other critical bio and life science companies. Their hardworking employees are saving lives every day while boosting our local economy and cementing our country's reputation as the epicenter and global leader for this growing industry. This week, Governor Hogan delivered his annual State of the State address. The state currently has a $4.6 billion surplus and an unexpected additional revenue stream of roughly $2 billion over the next 5 years. This is an incredible opportunity for the state to make investments that have been badly needed for years in the past. I'm concerned that the governor is favoring tax breaks rather than providing needed funding for transportation, infrastructure, climate change efforts, and our schools. And our state still needs help to address the damage from COVID for our residents and the economy. Thousands of Marylanders still have months of unpaid rent. Our businesses need more support to get back on their feet, and our hospitals across the state are facing staffing shortages and very high costs. These are real problems that need a state solution. Our schools and other public projects face large cost increases due to the supply chain problems. We have major transportation and climate actions that we wanted to fund, and now is the time to make these one-time investments in programs and projects that will build our future and strengthen our communities. I want to take a moment to talk about local efforts to combat climate change. I do want to thank the Council for passing Bill 4421, which mandates that 10% of the fuel energy tax revenue go to Montgomery County Green Bank. I'm a strong supporter of the Green Bank as it plays an important role in helping our county meet aggressive climate goals, and I look forward to signing the bill. But a critical point that I want to make about is that this legislation only works if it's paired with a regulatory requirement like the Building Energy Performance Standards, or BEPS. Just last week, we joined forces with state and local governments across the country, including Prince George's County, Annapolis, and Washington, D.C., in the National Building Performance Standards Coalition. It's a collaboration launched by the White House Council on the Environmental Quality. I'm proud that our legislative efforts not only got attention of the White House, but also the city of Denver, who worked off of our proposed legislation, introduced their draft bill in July and passed it in November. Unfortunately, despite the national acclaim for our efforts, our legislation actually remains stalled here. I sent BEPS legislation to the County Council 10 months ago. I also sent amendments to expand the Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy Program. CPACE, as it's called, is a critical program offered by the county for building owners to make their buildings more energy efficient, reduce operating costs, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The amendments would expand access and the scope of this existing financial tool to help achieve our climate goals and improve the resiliency of properties in the county. These two bills make a meaningful difference in addressing climate change in the county. I urge the Council to move these bills as quickly as possible. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you have a great week.